Welcome to Cloud Application Integration Enablement videos. In this video, you will learn how to create an Amazon S3 connection. The Amazon Simple Storage Service Connector or S3 connector is used to connect to Amazon S3 storage provider. It can be configured as a file monitor to sense the arrival of a file in an S3 bucket. It can also read and write files to an S3 bucket such as delimited or fixed width files. Now let's look at the demonstration on creating an Amazon S3 connection. This is the Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services login screen. Enter your credentials and click Login. Select Application Integration from the list of available services. For this demonstration, we have created a project named Tutorials and a folder named Amazon S3. Click New, select Connections and click Create. A new connection page opens for editing. This page has two tabs, Properties and Metadata. The Properties tab defines the properties for the connection. Enter a name for the connection. Type specifies the type of connection. Select Amazon S3 from the list. The page refreshes and displays additional tabs such as Event Sources and Event Targets. Select the Secure Agent from the Run On drop-down list. This is the agent where the connection will execute. In the Connection Properties section, under AWS Signature Settings, enter the Access Key ID and the Secret Access Key. This information is needed to gain access to the Amazon S3 provider. In the Amazon S3 Settings section, Policy indicates the bucket policy applied to new buckets created during connection execution. Enter the Amazon S3 endpoint. This is the region-specific website endpoint where the S3 bucket will reside if the connection creates a new bucket. Enter the region where a new bucket will be located. In the client-side encryption settings, you can configure the encryption parameters. In the Use Data Encryption section, Yes indicates the content of S3 objects that will be used to decrypt and then encrypt sources and targets by event. The encryption algorithm is the algorithm that will be used to decrypt and encrypt the S3 objects. The encryption key is the base 64 encoded secret key that will be used for the encryption. The encryption password is the password used to generate an encryption key. You can either enter the encryption key or generate the key using this parameter. Click Save. Click Test to test the connection. The connection test indicates the status of the test. Click the Event Sources tab. For each connection you configure, you can add one or more event sources. An event source serves as a start event that listens or monitors a specified location for new files or messages. Click Add Event Source and select Monitor. This event source monitors the S3 bucket for new files. In the Event section, enter a name and description. Select Yes for Enabled. In the Properties section, under Amazon S3 Settings, enter the S3 bucket name it monitors. If the bucket does not exist, the event source will create it using the Amazon S3 settings specified in the connection properties. The S3 prefix determines which objects are processed. If no prefix is specified, then the event source reads all the objects in the bucket. Under Polling Settings, Initial Delay indicates the time in seconds to wait before polling the Amazon S3 bucket. The default value is 1. Delay indicates the time in seconds to wait before the next poll of the Amazon S3 bucket. The default value is 1. Max messages per poll indicates the maximum number of objects to retrieve from each poll. Under Object Operations Settings, Delete S3 Objects determines whether to delete Amazon S3 objects from the source bucket. Select the appropriate option from the drop-down list as per your requirement. For this demo, we will select No. Enter the bucket name in the Move to Bucket field. This is the folder in which the successfully processed Amazon S3 objects will be moved. Move prefix indicates the prefix to the name of the successfully processed Amazon S3 objects. The default value AE done is used only if all objects are stored in the same bucket. Move failed to bucket indicates the bucket name to which the failed Amazon S3 objects will be moved. Move failed prefix indicates the prefix to the name of all failed Amazon S3 objects. The default value AE error is used only if all objects are stored in the same bucket. Backup in folder will store copies of successfully processed Amazon S3 objects. Backup failed in folder will store copies of failed Amazon S3 objects. Under Failure Handling Settings, Max Retry Interval is the maximum allowed delay in seconds between retry attempts. Under Content Type Settings, select the appropriate content format of the S3 object. Retain the default option No for the Simplify Content and Single Object Mode fields. Similarly, add event sources of type Delimited Content Parser and Fixed Width Content Parser. You need to enter specific values for some of the fields for these events. For example, Delimited Content Parser event needs the delimiter and text qualifier values to read a file. Similarly, the Fixed Width Content Parser event needs the columns descriptor to read a file. Save and publish the connection. Click the Metadata tab. Review the Objects section for the event source. Click the Event Targets tab. For each connection you configure, you can add one or more event targets. An event target specifies operations for writing files or messages. Click Add Event Target and select Writer from the list. In the Event section, enter the name and description. In the Properties section, under Amazon S3 Settings, enter the S3 bucket name it writes to. If the bucket does not exist, the event source will create it using the Amazon S3 settings specified in the connection properties. Select the appropriate storage class from the list. Select Standard. Similarly, add another event target of type Delimited Content Writer. This event needs the delimiter and text qualifier values to write to a file. Retain the default values for skip headers and line ending style. Save and publish the connection. Click the Metadata tab. Review the Actions section for the event targets. This concludes the demonstration on how to create an Amazon S3 connection.